Today, we wanted again to go back a bit to what we've done so far. And we wanted to have a small interactive session. Oh, sorry, the date is the wrong date. Today is 28th August. And the first thing I wanted to look at is the careers we've so far mentioned. I don't know how many people managed to go through the online sessions. And there is a reason why I want to remind you about these careers, because as we've been thinking on inviting people, we wanted them to be specific to a certain career, so that it's not just a general talk always, so that we can be able to, when we invite someone, you know which particular one interests you. So a recap, we were told some of the careers by being students in our school would include actuarial science, particularly if you take courses from our department, will include actuarial science, which I think most of you now have an idea what it is all about. And the main idea is that it deals with risks and is applicable mostly in matters finance. Hence, people from insurance, people deal with pensions and loaning. They use people who have actuarial science skills a lot. The second career we mentioned was the econometrics path. Again, this one is application of models which help in making decisions that deal with economics. For example, some of the time series you learn are an introduction to a broader spectrum of time series. For example, I know most of the time series we learn is what we call univariate time series. That is, we deal with only one variable. But going beyond this place, people use what we call multivariate time series. And because a lot of economic data is time related, and it's affected by multiple factors. So people use a bit of what we call multivariate time series to do some analysis in it. And as you can see here, there are a lot more other methods of statistics and math, like in probability, frequency distribution, that are applicable in econometrics. I'm spending extra time here because this is usually not referred to a lot in our school, yet it's a very key discipline for probably half of the students in our school. The next one is, of course, dealing with surveys and population studies, which is a lot to do with demography. And one thing I do know about demographies is the fact that every other day they are especially in this region where we are in, there are a lot of surveys being done, surveys to do with households, because there are usually so many programs that are being implemented at household levels. And the researchers plus the development partners always want to know how is it working. So for example, you've heard of IPA in Western Kenya. They work a lot more. Many people will assume they're just econometric people, but also they use a lot of demographic concepts. There is also the One Acre Fund, which you know of, and many other people who work in this region that usually think of how do we sample, how do we reach out to the even bigger population. what is the impact of our interventions and things like that. Biostatistics, you know about it, probably because of there is a first year course on it. And I will also want to mention its importance and where we are situated. Just the other day, we were discussing about the fact that we have research, medical research institute in nearby. There is the Cambry, and they usually have they have weekly talks which are open to the public, which is very interesting. So people can be able to even go there and visit them and see what they work on. One thing I know with them, they study a lot of survival analysis from having interacted with them before, because they do what we call longitudinal data analysis. They have a sample and they follow them, and they put some people in what we call control group, while others are given a specific treatment. Imagine, let's say, a new HIV treatment. They can put other people in what we call the current treatment, and there is some few people who are put in the new treatment to see which one is better. And they apply things which are not usually tackled in class. For example, things like blinding. Blinding can be single blinding or double blinding. By blinding, what it means is the person who is taking the drug will not know whether they are taking the new medicine or in most cases they will call them placebo, but I think they usually use the current best medicine. When it's double blinding, even the doctors who administer the drugs don't even know which one is the real one and which one is not. But they will just continue with the regimen. And then the researchers collect the data. They are the ones who know which of the drugs given were for, they will know which people actually received the new dose and which people actually received the placebo or the current best drug. And it's a very interesting thing. They do a lot of modeling, probably population dynamics also. They include them in their work. So it will be something recommendable for even some of us to visit and look at their presentations. Now, this one, we're going to see a small illustration of how people can actually use machine learning or can just use data science skills to sieve out applications. And those are some of the skills that most of you have been introduced to from first year. So I anticipate it to be a very interesting thing. But data science, we all know, it's like the in thing. However, there needs to be some programming skills. So you just can't say you'll be a data scientist without putting the effort to also learn some programming. Yeah. So I wanted to be able to know you also. And I have a small question to you. This question is the one that is on the left-hand side of your screen. I wanted to know, which are the top 3 career paths among these 5? We've given you actuarial, econometrics, demography, biostatistics, data science. So which ones? You can put up to 3 different ones. Which ones do you feel are the paths that interest you? For this, you will need to go to Menti. Just type menti.com I'll start the presentation in Menti. So you will just type by yourself. You can enter once, twice, and 3 times. Unaelewana? You can give me a thumbs up if you understand me. So what else?
Where do we enter?
So you go to menti.com. Just go to menti.com and then you use this number 381-65291. So go to menti.com. The number is also at the top here, 381-16, sorry, 381-65291. And then you'll see this. I think I've started the presentation. So when you type in the one that interests you, you'll be able to see it. You can type in once, twice, and 3 times. Okay, interesting. So far we have 3. And from the 3, people, they really like econometrics, data science, and biostatistics. I will not stop the Menti, so you can even continue to look at it again towards the end. Last time we said there was space for everyone, and it was important for us to see for ourselves that, yes, there are some fields that might appear to be more popular, but there is something for everyone. Now, last week, our own Depha shared a few things for us, and I'm going to summarize them here. She told us about building a personal brand. I've just taken the main points and shared. She reminded us the importance of having a good professional photo when on your active online presence. She reminded us to have a very strong presence. Particularly, she used the ideas also of working with your social media accounts, including, she mentioned Facebook and YouTube. So if you have a channel, you can be able to use it to actually do the 4th main bullet, which is to demonstrate your skills already to possible employers. And then she also added there is a need for us to be able to engage in events that help us to know one another and to meet different people who could actually help us forge a path in our career line. Of course, again, she mentioned the importance of dressing and acting in confidence. One great thing I remember was the triangular learning, the inverted triangular learning outcome, which means you look at yourself, you evaluate yourself. Do you have the skill sets required for the market? And then you actually engage actively also by preparing yourself, networking and all that. And then you also implement by going out to sell yourself. This was something very new for me and I learned a lot. And she reminded us some of the key important things we need to learn as we prepare for eventual job interview across those fields. She mentioned the importance of learning how to summarize data, to do descriptive statistics. That includes also using plots. She also mentioned the importance of having understanding hypothesis testing, understanding how you interpret the p-values, how you interpret the null hypothesis, and what is the alternative hypothesis. She mentioned the importance of understanding the Bayes theorem and its applications, and also correlation analysis, regression analysis for both ordinary and generalized, ordinary least squares models and generalized linear models. I added machine learning algorithms. It's important, I mentioned earlier that it's part of understanding machine learning algorithms is part of data science. And I had this illustration to use. This is what somebody posted on Facebook. I've hidden their identification, but here they're not really working. They have used machines to sieve so that they get out of around 170 people who were submitting their applications for a job. They wanted only 2. So they used the machines to remove some people. The first thing that happened is anybody who did not use the name in the email, their own name, which Depha also mentioned, when people use strange email names and things like that, they're automatically dismissed. And how many were dismissed? 100. That remains with 70. Senders who had names that were similar to strange creatures. Yeah. They were also dismissed. There were 20 people who had strange, like, Star Wars 50 at Gmail. They were dismissed just because of that. Now, imagine that is 120 people. Now they have remained with 50. And that one was not picked by human beings. It was done by machines. So this was a food for thought. I think it was a very first point about understanding how you also present yourself in an email. So I think in a summary, I wanted us to be able to know where are we in terms of understanding 7 people have filled in, and most people are talking about the science, econometrics, and those statistics. Now, if you understand the field you want to follow, then what are you doing to ensure that your presence is felt online and face-to-face? I will ask, do you guys have Twitter accounts? You also have maybe Facebook and all this. Then the question is, what do you do with Twitter and Facebook? Do you destroy your career before you even start it? And I'll also add, do you have a LinkedIn account? The LinkedIn account is simply a CV. So my last bullet on my left is basically the same as my last bullet on my right. LinkedIn is a CV. People look there to see what have you done so that they can be able to shortlist you even for a job. I know a friend of mine who's been getting jobs just through LinkedIn without him ever applying. He's a consultant. So on the left-hand side focuses on online presence. However, on the right-hand side, we're focusing on face-to-face. How active are you? Not just in class. My activity mean, are you also active in extracurricular? Are you also active in your line or far from it? I remember when I was in the university, there were cases of people who will go to the library. They are doing, let's say, criminology, but they're going to read books on mathematics. It was kind of humorous at that time. But for you guys, even in the activity that you're doing, are you also remembering to be active in a line in the career path you want to follow? And then, do you have a CV? If you do those three, then be sure you're going to generate a good curriculum vitae, a good resume, which will help you in future. That was the last of my slides. I want to thank you for your time. I know I've gone overboard. There was a reason why. Okay. So I want to thank you, and I'm going to allow people to type or to take questions. You can type or you can mention. Oh, thank you. There is somebody who I think is a graduate already. He's saying, and I don't know the name, this is a great initiative. I'm learning a lot. Wish I had these sessions during my campus life. Oh, thank you for that. We have around 10 minutes. Thankfully, we have other people who have already graduated who can also help us out. And also there is Dr. Joyce who is around. So she'll be able to respond to any question that might be out of my league. Thank you so much. I welcome questions.
Thank you, Thomas, for the very good presentation. I only have a comment. Menti was nice, but I also got confused. I don't know why many people did not respond to it, but I think they had the same issues I had. I wish you would give us the numbers beforehand.
The numbers?
Yeah.
Oh, so sorry, I've just shown you here. So there were, are you seeing my screen right now? One commenting. So there are 7 people who were able to respond. And as you can see, I think maybe 1 or 2 people mentioned demography, but most people mentioned data science, econometrics, and biostatistics. I think econometrics is bigger than all of them. Most people probably mentioned econometrics. I'm not so sure. They seem almost the same. Yeah. Yeah. Nobody mentioned actuarial science. I don't know why. Thank you, Kimani. Did it too. It's mentioned that the presentation was great. I'm really happy to get the feedback. I'm hoping there are other people who have questions. There is a comment. Question. You talked about econometrics and other careers. Is it possible for us to have sessions on econometrics, possibly mentor on the same? And the answer is simply yes. We are still scouting for more people who are doing econometrics so that we can bring them on board. Yeah, so far, most of the people that we have found are in general statistics, mostly demography and medical and data science. But we are scouting for we do know of lecturers who teach econometrics, but we are looking for people who are probably working in the heart of an econometric system to be able to talk to you. That one is yes, we are looking for them. And actually, we're going to soon share out a list as it's being populated, which you can be able to view but not edit as we get the people. So you can be able to know on this day, this is a person who will come and what they will be doing. Yeah. Thank you for the question. I'm happy to get any other question. So while you're typing, I know next week we'll be having somebody who will share with us about geospatial work. He's focusing on geospatial. I have a passion for it because I've been forced to learn it and apply it. And what was very interesting is that it's also, what is interesting with the geospatial is the fact that it uses data also. And to me, anything quantitative means I should be able to apply my statistical knowledge and background on it. There is a question, is data science field same as data analytics? Is data science field same as data analytics? Now, I will say this, data science ideally is broader than data analytics. Data analytics is synonymous, it's almost the same as data analysis. While data science is like the whole field in itself, like I would say applied statistics. So data analysis is just a bit of data science, because data science includes also an all-rounded skill set that you will apply. I don't know, maybe Joyce might want to weigh in on that.
Hello, Thomas. Data analytics, I think it's a nice way of saying data analysis.
Yeah.
That is what I think. Data science is this new field where you use machines to glean information from data.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Hi, Thomas.
Hey, how are you, Kimani?
I'm doing good. Thank you for the presentation. It's a very informative one. I want to believe the students here are learning a lot from this.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to encourage them. I'm running my self-assessment, and it's through such platforms and forums that we're able to learn. And today, we can attribute where we have to the initiatives that were made in this. So just want to encourage them to continue coming in large numbers to such forums.
Thank you so much,
and yeah, and maybe I can just add something on the data science and data analytics.
Okay.
So as you put it correctly, data analytics is a subset of data science. Data science is very, very broad. Data analytics, it's just a subset of which, where it just involves you draw insights from data. That's what is data analytics. But when you look at data science, it encompasses a lot. From that time that data is created to data analytics, and then after data analytics is artificial intelligence and machine learning. So yeah, you put it correctly that data science is broad than data analytics.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So we have around a minute to go. I want to make this note by Ben Cole. I want to thank you. He says that it was a great idea reviewing career paths. I think it's advisable for students to look at their abilities and interests on the direction they want to follow at a personal level. Don't just go by the crowd bandwagon. And I think that is very correct. You need to know as an individual. The good thing is, like, even the way we did the question, you have an option. You don't just focus on one. You can have an option of maybe 2 or 3, but then they are always somehow related. They're not very far from each other. So you are safe. So thank you everyone for being there for today. Next week we'll have a guest. And like I said, they will be talking about geospatial. Already we have, I know he'll be a male guest, but the other week we'll probably have a female guest. And I want to thank you so much for your time.